Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Sign up using code Hawkeye and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. When you register with BetMGM, you'll get instant access to a variety of parlay selection features, live betting options, and the best daily promotions in the business. And with BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game matters more than ever. Remember to use code Hawkeye and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Place your money line, prop, or parlay bets with the king of sportsbooks today. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Iowa only. New customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
At Parker, our purpose is simple. We want to make the world a better place. By working more efficiently, by using more sustainable practices, by developing better technologies, we keep moving forward. With each new idea, innovation, and partnership, we're one step closer to fulfilling our purpose every single day. To find out more, visit parker.com/purpose. Parker, engineering your success.
Hashtag no music, no intro. This pod is specifically for Ryan and I to talk about the upcoming game between the Saints and the Falcons. Big game. But maybe even bigger. I mean, not bigger if you're a fan of this podcast, but at least bigger in the grand scheme of things in terms of entertainment. We had to get our girl back on, Anousha Sakoui of the LA Times, that like this monstrous news of Warner Brothers, basically their entire theatrical slate for 2021, them just saying, fuck it, we're just gonna put everything on HBO Max. Like the shockwaves and aftershocks of it, you know, kind of keeping on with the whole California theme. See what I did there? It's still rippling throughout California. So, but before we get into that, first of all, thank you for joining us again. We're gonna make you just become like a correspondent on the show at some point. Like, but no, thank you for and I know you're working still, so thank you for carving out some time to talk to us. So before we go into that, what are your thoughts on the Saints Falcon game on Sunday?
Well, me, I can't wait. Is it an upcoming game or is it a game that went like that?
This is the preview pod, so it's an upcoming game on Sunday.
Well, I'm going to carve out time for it at least. I'm sure it's going to be epic. Potentially a game changer. Not as big news as The Matrix 4 coming to your living room.
Not all that. Don't get started. Don't get Ryan started on that. He could.
Don't get me started now.
He's a huge Matrix head. Can we just have a little segue? Can we talk about your yams?
Oh wow, yeah. Well, my first Thanksgiving in America, I have some family here, and someone brought yams with the marshmallow topping, and I was like very judgmental. I didn't think that would work. It was a revelation, and I thought, oh, this year, I was cooking Thanksgiving for myself, and I thought, oh, let's throw some marshmallows on those mashed yams, and it did not work. Let's just say that. It did not work. It actually cooked in one crispy slice, which I just eventually removed. Yeah, that was not good. So, look, don't judge me. I'm open about my failings.
Oh, no. This is a no judgment zone, but we will roast you.
Yeah.
From time to time.
I didn't know that you did enlighten me into other things that I should have done instead of just straight out putting marshmallows on.
Yams and just throwing it in the oven. Listen, if you would have reached out to Ryan or I beforehand, because one of my specialties is my sweet potato casserole, which is the same thing pretty much. Like, I would have given you a whole breakdown, but like you had already posted it to Twitter and you were raving about it.
This is my big American moment.
It was like you use that as your evidence to submit to get your citizenship.
No, I don't need a quiz. This is just evidence that I have been indoctrinated. I am now American. This should be enough, surely.
Well,
I love the fact that you were just very, like, you tweeted a couple of days ago, like, I'm not good at cooking. Like, you know what? I'm done. I'm not good.
I've been trying a lot this pandemic. I've been, cooking a lot. Also, I think when you work in an office and then you're working from home, you sort of start to realize I knew already how much I was spending on, getting a coffee or getting lunch. And I really, we were furloughed for part of the summer at the LA Times. So, looking to ways to save money. So I've been trying to cook a lot more at home. And I really just come to the conclusion, especially with that marshmallow moment, that and maybe I'm just not good at it,
I never use marshmallows I don't call them yams, I call them sweet potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
But when I do sweet potatoes, I just I basically cook the sugar down with butter. Oh, it's so delicious. No marshmallows needed.
Yeah.
None needed.
You cook the sugar down with with butter. I add a little brown sugar.
Brown sugar and cinnamon. Yes.
A little nutmeg. Little kick.
Man.
This is a helping zone, Anousha. So if you need anything, we got you. So anyone who's listening to this preview pod and they're like being like, oh, these guys aren't talking about football. When are they going to talk about the Saints Falcons game? You know what? Screw you. Like, we're not going to even put a time code of when you can skip forward to get. No, you got to either figure that out on your own, or you're just going to listen to us talk with Anousha, because there was groundbreaking news today of Warner Brothers saying their whole entire slate is going to be released through, on HBO Max. And it's so crazy because a couple of weeks ago, like, this whole notion, like, we talked about this on this podcast. And so what were your first thoughts? And I know you don't like to opine, but like, what were just your first thoughts, being that you work in the industry, when this news came in today?
I got to shout out my colleague, Ryan Fonda. Check him out on Twitter. He's been doing a lot of our writing on this. But it is something that, has been in the works potentially for years. Studios have been, like Warner Brothers, but studios have been trying to bring big movies into the home, sometimes for a fee, but to, do it in a short period of time from their release, not to have to wait, several months before they can bring it so that you can watch it at home. And the pandemic has really forced that to a head. A couple of weeks back when we spoke, it had already been sort of leaked that Wonder Woman 1984, which is the Wonder Woman sequel that they're doing, was going to be what we call day and date at Christmas, around Christmas time. I forget the exact date, but it's I think tickets it'll be on in theaters, but you'll be able to watch it at home. And that was a big deal because these movies cost a lot of money. And so it's quite unusual. Well, I mean, it's virtually unheard of for them to be so-called day and date releases that is released at home for streaming and in theaters on the same day for a major tentpole movie like a DC movie. And then what happened today was that Warner Brothers released that their whole 2021 slate is gonna be on HBO Max. So and day and date. So that's gonna be films like Godzilla vs. Kong, the fourth Matrix movie, the remake of Dune. If you're a DC fan, the next Suicide Squad movie, and also, like we also mentioned the other time we spoke, the new the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League. So there's a lot coming in, and it seems to be all geared towards getting people to subscribe to HBO Max.
You completely buried the lead by not even mentioning the rebooted Mortal Kombat movie.
Oh yeah, as well.
Highly disappointed right now. So with that said, something that kind of jumped out to me when this news came down, and you kind of and this is why you're a great follow, is in terms of like following the breadcrumbs, is you are already kind of connecting the dots of what does this mean long term in terms of theatrical releases. Because we talked about it on the last show that you were on, is that movie companies and studios make so much money when there's a theatrical release, and then there's a double dipping of the theatrical release and the home media release and what have you. And so now I've seen some people who I follow on different entertainment, Twitter accounts saying like this is it, like the game's completely changed. Like there's really no way of putting the toothpaste back in the tube.
Yeah.
But I think you brought a very poignant point in how you said like, movie budgets aren't going to go down. So like where do you see, like, I know it's kind of hard to say, but like, what does this mean for the future of theatrical releases and things like that?
Yeah, you sort of nailed it in terms of the debate is whether this is, they're sort of saying, their messaging is that this is like, it's sort of, this is for 2021. There's no commitment yet to the future. But as you said, once consumer habits have changed, and we're in this place because consumer habits have changed, mainly because of Netflix, right? The way Netflix has really changed, and also, technology, the way technology has made streaming of HBO shows like Game of Thrones possible in the home. So it was coming. And the question is, can you go back? The thing that, I hear is that, well, these movies, and this isn't so important because these are their biggest movies, their most expensive movies. It's not yet proven that you can release these at home and have it break and have it be financially viable. Now, so for example, if you looked at Disney's Mulan release, where they charged $30 for you to watch it at home, they said that they were, their executives had been public and said they were happy with it, and they were going to look at that, again, potentially doing it again. What we're looking at here is not so much charging a fee, but really kind of going towards what a lot of companies are doing, right? Which is more of a subscription model. Like with Netflix, they spent, hundreds of millions of dollars to have Martin Scorsese's The Irishman, and and other films, but some films they spend a lot of money on. It's not clear how many people have watched them. What people sort of, what analysts understand from that strategy is it's not so important that you have a box office number or whatever, or how many, what was the box office on opening day? What were the watching figures? How many people can they keep subscribed or enticed to subscribe? A lot of people are going to sign up to HBO Max now because of these films that are coming. So it's kind of, the question is like, is it going to be financially viable for them to put these massively expensive movies, day and date just on streaming? Because it does take away the allure of film in the theater, right? It means that you're less likely to go. It's just the way it is. And, some people will still go to theaters and some people won't. Question is even if they'll make the same kind of splash, have the same, a lot of people, when a lot of filmmakers, when they would sell their movies, when Netflix was first starting to buy movies and you'd see movies go there, and they wouldn't get the big sort of splash of a theatrical release. And not just Netflix, but Amazon and other streaming platforms. Do they get the same kind of attention, And so question is going to be, is that going to be relevant for what we know as Warner Brothers, which is really Warner Media, which is now a division of AT&T, a much bigger company that, you pay a subscription for your cell phone effectively, you pay a monthly bill. And so maybe the whole box office revenue element isn't important. Maybe it's just a shift to subscription. But if it isn't that, then yeah, you know, there's really no way you can make these movies profitable if you're just looking at, you know, putting them online, because they're expensive, and I don't think that you're going to spend less on these kind of movies. There's always going to be filmmakers out there who want to spend a lot of money on making a movie, and studios that will let them do that.
Do you know if these releases on HBO Max, like, will you have to pay individually for these films, or will this be covered in the normal subscription that you?
This looks like it's just part of the subscription, so
Wow.
available to all their viewers. Yeah.
So I guess go ahead. I'm sorry, Ryan.
No, I'm just saying that's just fascinating, because like you said, economically, I don't see how that works out long term. I don't see how that becomes a thing going forward, at least the way it is for 2021. You know,
I mean, it works for Netflix, but they're not investing. They probably spend more on content than any other studio,
Right.
but they have a handful of films in the US that they finance. So, but a major studio like Warner Brothers, they'll have like 20 to 30 films that they're financing. Not all of them will be the $200 million film, but the question is if, like, you know, if really it's like you're subscribing to an AT&T product, which is HBO Max, and if they have more, you know, it kind of like it. This is one of the issues of, like, when you have a studio that's part of a very big company, you don't get as much insight into the ups and downs, because really it kind of absorbs into the revenues and the flow of that big company. But you know, I think it kind of makes sense if you think about it along those lines of, like, you pay a monthly bill to AT&T for your cell phone and for your internet, and it kind of makes sense that you would do that for, you know, programming. And so if they're just thinking about it in the numbers of subscribers, the numbers of people that they can maybe, like, tie into their cell phone, a bit like, you know, maybe Apple is doing, you know, they sort of shifted to this kind of services concept, you know, having subscriptions for even just having the iPhone, you know, where you can be part of their iPhone program. They're not really there on the content side yet. I mean, they have obviously a presence, they have big shows, but it's not the sort of number of they don't have the sort of breadth of content that others do. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be the big question. And the theater chains, AMC and Cinemark, mainly AMC though, was very vocal today.
He was talking greasy.
Right, in opposition to their saying, you know, they weren't told about it, and, you know, it threatens their business model. I mean, they make money from people buying popcorn and going to see these movies.
And, you know, one thing that stands out to me, not even for, like, the big expensive movies, but say, like, the small movies, like, I don't know, I mean, like Get Out, which came out a few years ago, that don't have big budgets, but, you know, blow up in the box office and ranking hundreds of millions of dollars, which sends signals to the, you know, investors and the studios and all that stuff, like, hey, you know, this Jordan Peele guy, maybe this is somebody we need to get behind.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
will those signals be there with a subscription, you know, model? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I don't think, you know, this question has been on the table for a long time. What happens to theatrical releases, right? And I've heard people, you know, analysts and people in the industry talk about how, you know, when TV came along, people thought it would be the end of theaters. When Kindle came along, people thought it would be the end of hardback books. You know, things like that, or radio, the threat to radio of TV. So I think, you know, it's most likely that there'll still be theaters, right? Like, people still want to go out. People still shop at restaurants. People still eat in restaurants, even though they can cook at home. You know, like, those are the kinds of arguments that proponents of theatrical have argued for a long time. So, you know, and films like Get Out, horror films, they have a very, like, they do well in theaters, and they have like a short time span. Like, they're the kinds of films that people will go out to rush out to see, younger people, and see them in big groups. And then they kind of, they spend a few weeks there and then they're kind of done. And maybe then we'll see them come into the home sooner. But it sort of it does raise, does it make it harder for, sorry, my dog has started with a squeaky toy. I confiscated one squeaky toy.
I don't hear it. It's fine.
So yeah, the question is, like, say if it's not a horror film and it's another director or filmmaker trying to come up, it does make it harder because, I mean, potentially, maybe it makes it easier. I don't know. I mean, like, maybe the theaters will be looking for more stuff to fill, their auditoriums. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a big shift because it's probably the biggest commitment to streaming that any studio has made so far.
Is this with this news dropping? Could you? And I'm just trying to think of. I just know how businesses think and operate, and that in the bottom, in the day, their bottom line is to make money. Could this be like used as a ploy? I mean, I know HBO Max is on the more pricier,
right? Exactly.
End of things right now in terms of streaming companies, but could this even be of like something where they're like, you know what, whatever we're charging for our streaming service, it's going to go up because you're going to get all these theatrical releases like at your disposal next year and all these big, like, it just seems like, and I don't know if they're going to do that, but just being a smart consumer, it wouldn't surprise me if they were to go that route at all.
I mean, they are, as you said, like on the higher end. And, now I think sort of like the standard Netflix package is $13.99 after they did their price rise. So that kind of brings them a bit closer. But they have like a tiered version, different plans. Maybe that's something that the HBO could do or have more variety if they did want to increase their price. But they're already at the more expensive end. So I don't know. You have to see about that.
Yeah,
you can get deals though. I mean, by the way, you should look out for them. Sometimes I think I signed up, it was $11.99 for a little bit, but normally it's $14.99.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a proponent a long time for video on demand, especially for, I guess, movies that you don't really need to see in a big theater. Like, I mean, a lot of those movies that just come out is like, I could watch that at my house. But like the big movies, Matrix 4 and, Godzilla versus King Kong, I want to see that in the theater. I want to. Now, obviously, next year, dealing with this pandemic, I understand the move. But I'm just wondering, I guess it's going to become like something where it's like theaters are kind of like an elite package, like, just something that it becomes where it's more of a just a specialty to go see movies, whether it's, rather than, just, classically it's just been like your middle American pastime on the weekend to go see a movie with your kids.
Right. That's been the trend that's been happening, and that the box office has become over the past couple of years more concentrated around a smaller number of bigger films. So, like, I forget the numbers. There's a good analyst out there called Doug Kreutz from Cowen and Co. He has something he's tracked. And yeah, I mean, I forget the numbers, but it's been an increasing trend that a smaller number of big movies account for a bigger part of the box office. And so that's made those kind of middle of the road, mid-budget, sometimes a star-led movie like, the Jennifer Aniston or Adam Sandler movies, harder to draw a crowd at the box office, so harder to break even. And so that's why you're seeing a lot of them on streaming now, these kind of star-led vehicles.
I know we don't know now, but like how does this all play out? Like, if there was a fake gun to your head, because I think the term gun, like an actual gun to someone's head, is a little ridiculous. So let's say there's a fake gun to your head. Like how does this all play out 2022?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to see. I think like there's already been some movement already, right? We've seen Universal cut deals with theater chains to give them some of the revenue to make up basically for this. And that seems like a longer term thing. And that's kind of, maybe that's more what you see. I don't know. I mean, because you could get powerful directors like Chris Nolan, who is obviously a big supporter of having his movies in theaters, say, well,
Chris Nolan would never let one of his movies go to video.
Right. I mean, it's interesting to know like how much power a studio could have over him. But like, my guess is that he can now that he knows that this trend is out there, I'm just going to guess that he's going to say, or his lawyers would say, well, whenever he papers any kind of deal, that he gets ultimate say over how it's distributed if he doesn't already, and he can insist. So and he's not the only one. There are many other, Tarantino, although I don't know how many more films he's going to make, but he there are many powerful directors that could still say, we want our movies in theaters first. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of where the future is going. So to some degree, the goal is what's the reference of thinking like things have already shifted. Question is like, this seems potentially just, I mean, in Jason Kilar, who runs HBO Max, he did a Medium post today, and he talked about basically like the options that were available during the pandemic, and he kind of gives you the impression that he's, that if he says like, look, if the option was there to do this, to put these in theaters and have theatrical releases, now we would do that. But he talks about just the options that are available to him now, and this seemed like the best option now. So that it doesn't seem to suggest that he's opposed to, that it doesn't seem from that comment that this is like a permanent shift for them. So yeah. That doesn't answer your question, but if it tips to probability, like it sort of suggests to me that this is maybe something as significant as this, or as extreme as this. Maybe it's probably not permanent. Yeah, reading between the lines of his comments.
Okay, that's fair. Anything else you have for Ryan? We know you're working on an article.
No, that was awesome.
Well, I appreciate you having me on and your interest, and keep following me and my colleague Ryan Fonda at the LA Times and for all the latest on this. So there's going to be a lot more because people are wondering how actor deals are affected by this. As like we said, some of the theaters are really not happy about it. So there'll be more news to come, I'm sure.
Well, we'll be sure if more crazy news in the Hollywood continues to happen, that we'll get you on at some point. And then we could just do an episode where we just talk about just cooking. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm learning what not to do.
I mean, I'm from Texas and Ryan is from Louisiana. Like, if you can't learn to cook from us, like there's no hope. Done.
I appreciate you guys, and good luck for the game this weekend. I'm going to leave you to cogitate over all that.
Thank you, Anousha. You have a good one.
Bye.
Have a good one.
That, folks, was a quick glimpse of the big news in regards to what happened in Hollywood today. Anousha is becoming one of our favorite guests. She just provides so much information about the world of entertainment. Anyone who listens to this podcast, is tuned in regards to entertainment in some form or fashion. So anytime she's just able to get on and just talk to us, and we're just two fucking guys just talking about football. So the fact that she's like, oh yeah, like I'll jump on, like we always appreciate that. And much love to her as always. All right, man, let's get into it. Let's talk about this game. The Saints have an opportunity to go 10-2 and could clinch a playoff berth with a win and a Bears loss against who else would it be besides the Atlanta fucking Falcons?
Fucking Falcons.
Who they listen, they put her on them Raiders last week, bro. They put her on them.
They did, bro.
Had Derek Carr, John Gruden discombobulated. The defense played great. And listen, I know a lot of fans are gonna, look at the results of how the Saints played against them the first time. Eight sacks. It was pretty. I mean, the defense played fantastic the entire game, and then offense got going in the second half. But listen, now the Falcons, it's a different game. The Falcons probably had no idea that first game that they were going to be playing Taysom until that Friday, right? Yeah. So then they found out. So they played Taysom once. Then they have tape against Taysom against the Broncos.
Yeah,
and I know it may not seem like a big key, and I didn't realize this until after the Saints played them. Dante Fowler didn't play in the first game that they played because he was on the COVID list. Well, he's healthy. Okay. And the play that still gives me nightmares to this day, Ryan,
man, listen,
is him smoking fucking Ryan Ramczyk in the NFC Championship game that led to Drew throwing that interception. Like that, like I the Tommy Lee Lewis play haunts me, but god damn it, that play haunts me too, man.
Yeah. I mean, because listen, we had the ball in overtime, so.
Okay, can't do it. Anyway,
let's not go there. Let's not go there.
Can't do it, bro. Can't do it.
Let it go.
So, here's my concern. And here's my thing for the game as a Saints fan. Why I'm concerned. I feel like we don't try to be pessimistic on this pod, but we just try to be realistic. Vic Fangio said Taysom as a quarter, and I know they said the game plan changed, but they played zone. The Broncos played zone, and he told Taysom, figure it out. Figure out how to beat this zone. And Taysom couldn't do it. He could not do it.
Yeah, it's just I don't know how to take it, man. Like I can't make a educated assessment with what we know about what Sean Payton has said about the game plan, what Taysom has said. I mean, Taysom reiterated it again yesterday. Like I know it looked bad, but I had Sean Payton in my head, like take care of the ball, blah blah blah. So I don't know, because on the flip side, you have his first start against Atlanta, which is a much more critical game as far as it's his first start. And, he got comfortable after the first half and was making reads and, moving through progressions and all that stuff. So I just don't know how to take it, bro. Like, I don't know what I really have no idea what we're going to see Sunday.
Well, I don't either.
We saw two sides of the page.
Two complete sides.
We saw him take it. But I will say that, even in that first Atlanta game, the first half was ugly. What I'm saying?
Bro.
Go back and look at your Twitter. Go back and look at your pages. We was man, where Jameis at? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I remember our text messages between each other in the first half.
In the first half, it was man, this ain't looking good. You know what I'm saying? Then you got, the bad snaps versus the Broncos. So you could at this point with the information we have, you could say it's been a mixed bag at least. It's been a mixed bag.
He's played. Okay, let's be honest. He's played one good half, and he's had 2 good quarters and 6 bad quarters. Let's just be real, right?
Right.
And I what I would expect from the Falcons is I think Raheem Morris, who may be playing himself into becoming an actual head coach for the Falcons, which
doing it.
I know. Listen, Raheem has gotten the best of Sean quite often when he was at West Coast.
A couple times.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl season.
Yeah. So I expect the Falcons to play more zone. I think he's going to try to do similar things to what the Broncos did and make Taysom, read a defense, find holes in the zone, and make smart throws. Now, here's where I go to, and this is why I think as Saints fans we become so sometimes frustrated and annoyed with Sean Payton, is that he ran like there. We talked about on the recap show. There was a drive with Latavius and AK that they ran 10 times in a row. Hey. 10 times. So when a defense plays zone, common football wise is like you can attack a zone with a run because defenders are already moving back to protect their zone. Like I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be a game where Sean kind of opens it up for Taysom again. It's going to be a very fascinating watch to see. And speaking of the defensively, just injuries. We're taping this Thursday night. So we have a little better idea maybe of what injuries are going to be. The news came out today that, Marcus Davenport, concussion, didn't practice today, which would be a huge loss for the Saints defensively. He may not have the sack numbers or what have you, but just his presence and his pressures and his hurries are just
important.
Huge.
That's a huge loss. If he is lost, you know what I'm saying?
And if you were a betting man, how much money would you put that Julio's going to play?
Oh, he playing. Ain't no betting. I don't need to bet. He playing. He's out. He was limited yesterday. He was out today. He probably will be limited tomorrow. Or something. It doesn't matter.
Get the questionable tag.
Yeah, don't worry, but he's going to play. Now, will he play 4 quarters? I ain't about to say all that now. But he's going to be a part of the game. He's going to be a part of the game. I wouldn't worry about that. So
when we finished taping the recap show for the Broncos pod, one thing afterwards I was mad at myself that I didn't talk. I felt like we didn't talk about enough is, and this kind of goes to what I'm about to say. Is Latavius Murray the most underrated player on the Saints, bro?
Gotta be, bro. Gotta be, man. The dude just produces every time. Every time he gets the ball, he's doing something.
It's not flat. It's not flashy. It's not.
Dude just running hard, gets yards, gets first downs. Everything you want from a running back.
That's it. And even after that episode where he just had a fantastic game, I don't think I mentioned him by name one time.
I forgot. It's whatever.
So Marcus Davenport concussion. We don't know what his status is. Janoris Jenkins, who had that awful looking injury against the Broncos, it came out this week and after the game on Sunday that the injury was minor, but he still hasn't practiced. He didn't practice yesterday. He didn't practice today. Wouldn't expect him to play. And then the Saints have kind of gotten used to this. That means P-Rob back out there. Who again, besides maybe one or a couple of plays, one play against the Chargers and maybe a couple of plays here and there, he's played great this season.
And he played against the Falcons, last week.
Yes.
A week or 2 ago, but so,
Yes.
It's nothing to freak out about. You would rather Jack Rabbit back out there, but I wouldn't go crazy if Jack Rabbit is out, which is probably most likely. Lattimore be back. Other than that, you pretty much. You're as healthy as any team as any team could be possibly in this league, man.
Yes.
You're banged up, but man, teams out there beat. You know what I'm saying? Beat to the ground. So, they just got to go and handle business, bro. Defensively, we're talking about the offense, and it's important, but really, if the defense just keeps playing how they've been playing, man, you know what I'm saying?
They are such a incredibly hard team to beat if that level of defense continues. Like it's unreal, Ryan. Like I at this point, like I don't have the superlatives to just what we're seeing from them. It's I don't know, man. As a Saints fan, all you can do, we can do is just enjoy it, shed a tear, just all those fucking seasons that Drew was throwing for 5,000 yards and 7 and 9, and like we're seeing what we wanted for him those years, in his last year.
Yeah, man. It's like they finally did it. They finally put together a good, strong defense that's built well from the back to the front.
Insane. And I know we talked about it before the season started, and most talented Saints team on paper, most talented
on paper.
The defense is so
hashtag
deep.
On paper.
and we didn't see it, and then we now, like, people say, I see the vision, bro. We see it.
Mm-hmm.
And every time they go out there, hair on fire, Quan, Trigger Trey. That said, I definitely expect Atlanta to counteract what happened in week 1. If there's no way that they're going to allow Matt Ryan to take 5-step drops.
8 sacks. 8 sacks doesn't happen.
It won't. It won't happen again.
It won't. Like 8 sacks is an extreme rarity in the NFL.
It's an outlier. It's an anomaly. It's
an anomaly, so it's not going to happen. And so I don't know what they're going to do because it's going to be the same offensive line. But they're gonna adjust accordingly, whatever it's going to be. They're going to be getting that ball out quick
game, running backs, check down. Like it's going to be a game where the Saints are going to need to tackle, limit yard after, yak yardage, run after catch. Like that's how you counteract that. Like you already saw once, like, oh, our offensive line ain't got the dogs to block this D line. Like we just ain't got it.
Right. And that's where we at though, man. Like that's where we at as far as the defense. It's not about is the defense good enough. It's like we know it's good enough. But it's just about execution. So we've seen the defense, early in the year where they're not executing on all cylinders, where there are some miscues here and there in the secondary or on the defensive line or whatever, and we've seen them perform at a high level. So it's just a question of will the defense come in and execute, just like they did the week before? Will they come in and just execute at a high level again? If they do, they shouldn't have a problem beating this team. If they do, you know what I'm saying? If they don't, then then it's Matt Ryan, with 1,000-cut offense, marching down the field, young Ho hitting his kicks, you know what I'm saying, and just keeping us, and then defensively what they're doing to us offensively, we'll see because we just don't know what we're going to see from the offense.
We don't.
I mean, Alvin Kamara, he's had pretty much his worst 2 weeks in a row. Not bad weeks, but he's not been a part of the passing game as he's normally been with Taysom. I don't know if that's just like it's just happens, or if that's just something they're going to plan on. Because I know in the first game against Atlanta like made it a 100% purpose to take AK out the game plan. And last week, Denver like just tried to throw that game out because it was just weird.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I know I would like to see AK in the pass game more involved. Whether there's screens, whether it's pass to the flats, over the middle or whatever. They got to get him involved because that's your dog. You know what I'm saying? But on the flip side, it's been good to see Michael Thomas last week get involved because, man, it's like, bro, like if you would have told me Mike Thomas, like his total yardage right now, if you would have told me at the beginning of the season that's what he'd have at week 12.
Nick, we would like what quarterback we pick in top 3?
For real, dog. It's like, oh man. The fact that they like 9-2 right now is just It's amazing.
Not into number one seed in the NFC, Ryan. Like that, it's like I know he's not going to win it. I know he's not. But what Sean Payton's doing right now is some of is maybe his best.
It's no question. It's no question. It's his best work.
It's like I don't have the adjectives to just describe. He just it's special to see right now. And he this is the second game in a row that Sean has told during the pregame meetings to the whoever's calling the game. Well, his message to the team is let's not be a common team. So a common team is going to drop a game to the Falcons. Because that's the trap game. That's the game. Like that's what the Raiders did.
Exactly.
They are a common team. They dropped the game to the Falcons, a team that they were supposed to beat. So Sean Payton's just hitting this note over and over again. Let's be fucking uncommon.
And players buying in, bro. Like you listen to, you go listen to Demario Davis on that Huddle and Flow podcast. You listen to players talk on the interviews, man. They are like checked in to the.
They zoned in, bro. Like they are zoned in.
Like the defensively, they like it. Like they like the fact that they balling. They like the fact, they just love it. You know what I'm saying? They're enjoying the game. And when you get to that point where it's not work no more. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they're on the job no more. It's fun.
It's fun.
Like you watch Demario and Quan, man. They have fun out there, bro.
Bruh. Like BFFs. Like it's like they met, and I feel like it's like the Step Brother scenes. Did we just become best friends? Yup. Like that's and you saw, shout out to the homie Lloyd Cushenberry of LSU, but in that snap, in the Broncos game that was low that almost got returned. That I don't think it's like that snap happens when you are as a center, because I played that position. Like when you are scared, you don't know where the pressure's coming from. Like when the opposing defense is humming, man, that makes things speed up. You're like, oh shit, let me get rid of this fucking ball. Like shit, they're coming. And that's the kind of pressure that they're currently putting on opposing offenses. Like they are like just stifling them.
They dictate, man.
Which is but it's like you said, if they show up, the game, it's going to be a very hard game for the Falcons to win. I don't even know if, like, honestly, I saw that Todd Gurley didn't practice today. I know he didn't play last game. Like the Falcons offense does better when 21 doesn't play. Like that hurts me to say.
Yeah, it does, man. It's sad to see, bro.
Hurts me to say. Let's talk about a little bit more offensively. I think it's going to be an interesting game to see what type of. We talked about it a little bit. Just see what Sean Payton, what type of offense he's running on Sunday. Is it going to be? I don't think it's going to be one of those super conservative offensive game plans that he ran against the Broncos. But is it going to be kind of like, I think that's going to be fascinating. And something else, like Adam Troutman out-snapped Garrett Cook last week.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, that's on Cook, man. Like, it's just on him because he just hadn't been playing well. Like, he has been the one mistake-prone player on the team, man. It's unfortunate.
It's like he's fumbling. He'll make a play, but he's called for fucking offensive pass interference. If it's not one thing, it's another.
Yeah, I don't know where that goes. I mean, Adam Troutman, he the one catch guard right now. You know what I'm saying? He makes that one particular route catch. Peace. God bless y'all. Good night. That's it. Wrap. You know what I'm saying?
Hit him with that Russ Simmons.
Hit him with that Russ. It's over. It's over. So I want to see him catch two. Like, catch two passes, bro. Catch 2, 3. Give me 3 passes. Give me 3 nice routes or something, man. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, they just got to get it going, man. Like I want to see the passing game flow a little bit because it's just been so. I mean, look, they're playing with a backup quarterback. They're playing with a guy that hadn't started games before. So no, it's not going to be crisp. But I just want to see it crisper. You know what I'm saying? Like we saw under Teddy Bridgewater last year, it didn't start off great at all. I know, like hindsight 2020. You know what I'm saying? I know, like, just people look at it now, and especially the national media, like, Teddy Bridgewater went 5-0. He was great. No, he was not great. He wasn't great. Like for like 2 or 3 games, it was a stressful mess, and we
Yes,
felt lucky
bro.
to win.
Yes.
It wasn't great, and so I try to just think, put that in my mind when I'm looking at Taysom. Like, just let this guy grow into the system. It's an extremely complicated offense. Like what Drew Brees does, you just almost got to throw away what Drew Brees does on a week-to-week basis away because he has an entire playbook that's not written down with his wide receivers. Like they have a playbook outside of the playbook that's simply changing based on what they're seeing on defense that they do on a game-to-game basis. So we're used to seeing that and we just take it for granted. But that's extreme. That takes years to build what they built. You know what I'm saying? So when somebody new comes in, it's just not going to look like Drew Brees' normal offense because it's not Drew Brees. You know what I'm saying? It's just not. So it's going to look different. And so I just want to see whatever Taysom offense is going to look like. I want to see that, and I wanted to see it just a little crisper. Whether it's passing, whether it's him running the ball, or getting everybody else involved. I just want to see just a little more flow to it and a little consistency.
How, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you that our boy Andres Pete probably gonna be back in the lineup at left guard?
Man, fuck out of here, man. You know what? I'm happy to see him back, bro. I'm happy to see him back, man. We're gonna get Big Pete on the move. He gonna be pulling, come around that edge. He gonna do something. I'm ready. I'm ready for Pete to come back, man. I mean, shit. That's my dude. I'm saying,
same thing. We they already played the Falcons. We already previewed the show, prior when they played the Falcons. Like if you limit Jarrett Grady, like you should be good. Like in theory, like you should be good. Like they did. I think they get it. Besides like a couple of plays, like they did a pretty great job in the first game of limiting Grady Jarrett of the Falcons. Deion Jones, who looked slow in the first game that the Saints played against him, he had like a monster game last week against the Raiders. Had a pick six. You gotta watch 4 or 5, man. You gotta watch 4 or 5. He I don't know what it is about LSU players that don't get drafted by the Saints. They get drafted by other teams, and like they like carry a vendetta, like the home state team didn't draft him. Like I don't know what it is, but like he plays with the like a vendetta, like he has like the Bry's like fucking 5 kill list every time he fucking plays the Saints. Like, who am I going to concuss today? And just fucking cross them off.
Get these boys out.
Oh,
kind of something to watch for Deontay Harris. He had a stinger. He's still out.
Which is very interesting because Harris is out and also Callaway's out.
Callaway's out, exactly.
So, and then the third person I would maybe fill in is Ty Montgomery.
He out.
I don't know. I don't know if they're just gonna put Austin Carr at every punt return and just be like, just fucking call fair catch.
Just fair catch it. But that that's weapons laws. You know what I'm saying? Like
it is.
That's been a weapon of the team. So far. So that's gonna hurt. You know what I'm saying? And like I tweeted earlier, that Las Vegas has us at 2.5 to 3 points. I'm just wondering. I'm wondering why do they think after basically just handling the Falcons, a couple of weeks ago, why do they only think we good for at least 3 points? You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's Vegas. They just might be wrong. They might be right. But, they smelling something in their water. And I think it is that, like they usually don't sweep the Falcons. They just usually don't.
That's historically they don't. You're right.
So, I mean, we just got to like just take care of business, man. Like take care of this. You go and take care of this. You should handle up on the Eagles. Okay, you lose to the Chiefs. Like nobody gonna, whoop your ass for losing to the Chiefs. It's gonna be like, okay, you know what I'm saying? We just wasn't a better team that day. But man, take care of Atlanta, man. Like you're a far better team than the Atlanta Falcons. So you just gotta handle business. Like just play your game and you should beat them.
Let me set this up for you. Saints beat Atlanta. They go to Philly, beat the Eagles, put them at 11-2. Chiefs, let's say they don't lose a game between now and then, put them at 12-1. Could you imagine that, right? That more than likely would be Drew's game that he comes back in, because I don't think he's going to be back against the Eagles. There are not many regular season games that give me like that feeling. But there's been like within this last 3 years, there's been a couple. The 2018 season when they played the Rams, and that bar burner with the Michael Thomas catch and the cell phone. The Steelers game, I believe it was that same damn season.
Yeah.
The Tampa Bay game, the second Tampa Bay game this season. Like there are just certain games where like it just like as a fan, you're just like, oh shit.
Man. That game there. But the thing is, like if the hope is this team can get to that big dance. And if they get to the big dance, that's likely the team they'll be facing, bro. Them or the Steelers. I picked this. If you listen to our offseason podcast, I picked the Steelers that the Saints face in the Super Bowl. But I know they're undefeated. They deserve the love, bro. They're undefeated. They're undefeated, man.
They are. They don't. It's what they remind me of the Packers of last year.
Right. Exactly.
Like the Packers were 13-3. The Packers went to an NFC Championship game. At no point of last year during the season that I think like they're one of the best teams in the NFL. Like at no point,
right.
Not at one point. And I mean now with the Steelers, they no Devin Bush, no Bud Dupree. Bud Dupree is hurt. Torn ACL. They didn't like. I get it. Like any given Sunday, but like they were struggling with the Cowboys with like a third string quarterback. Like I just got questions. Got questions. But even though the Chiefs' defense at the most is average, man, I've said this since he was drafted. I do not bet against number 15. I just don't. I don't know,
man. I've seen it too much. I've seen it too much, man.
Bro, what he did against, was it the Raiders? Like in a minute and 20?
It's ridiculous.
It's
ridiculous. I mean, Tampa Bay, against Tampa Bay, man, he's like
75 yards. I can't, bro. I can't. But if that's so, I'll say this, and I know people have been asked. I don't know if we could ever do like a live podcast of us watching the game, just because like I think the streams or whatever that we use, like the timing's always off and it would look very jinky. But if the Saints and the Chiefs meet in 2 weeks, and if their records or if they beat these next two games, Atlanta, Philly, like Ryan and I will figure out a way to at least probably hopefully do like a video fucking podcast. Like, yeah, that's those don't happen. Like games like that don't happen. I mean, even if they don't, even the Saints go 1-1 or whatever, like that's a huge game. That's a huge game, bro. And it's football porn, right? Like, I want to, like, to me, like, that's the test. Like, we know our defense is good. We know our defense is good. They've proven it.
Are they that good?
Can you go stop them boys, though? Can you stop them?
I mean, you got a child abuser.
Oh, God. Him.
What you do with that? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think, all right, so I know. I'm just getting excited even thinking. So this is what I think you do, right? I think if Jack Rabbit's healthy, you put Jack Rabbit on him, you have constant safety coverage. You're always doubling him. And then, so that leaves Marshawn against their wide receiver 2. So that's either Demarcus Robinson or McCole Hardman. And then with 87, you got to mix it up. Combination of, with me, I would just say you go with 2-2, and maybe you throw in Quan here and there.
You got to get physical with him.
Oh yeah, you got it. Yeah, and then here's the thing, and I tweeted about this. The Chiefs' offensive line isn't great, especially this season, because with some of the opt-outs that they had.
Right.
My fear for that game, and I tweeted this to Nick, is like, Randy Reed's not going to let 15 just drop back, 7 steps in the pocket and just have his offensive line just completely get destroyed. I think our defensive line can eat against the Chiefs.
Absolutely.
My concern would be Andy Reid is such a good coach that he's not going to allow that to happen. So it's going to be a very, passes to, a layer, passes to quick. And I said that my fear is that when the Saints play the Chiefs, we're going to be super frustrated as fans because the game plan is going to be very similar to how when the Raiders played against us. Because we were just like, fuck, like we're almost the car, but like the ball was gone.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to play defense that way.
Exactly. So I definitely think they would change it up where the Saints defense would be playing like, stop the big ball, just don't give up the big pass. And the Chiefs are going to know that's how we play it.
Yes.
And it's going to be quick pass, and just march down the field.
I will say that the only loss that the Chiefs had this season to the Raiders in the second half, that's what Paul Gunther did, and they couldn't adjust. And I don't know if that was just like, it was just in the game, and they just couldn't figure it out in the game. But when the Raiders played the Chiefs and they gave them that first loss in that second half, that's essentially what they did. Like, they took away the big play and said, we'll take the dink and dunk. We'll take that, and that's how they won. I think that's
the flip side is your offense has to score.
Has to.
Like, you can't do that. You can't play that game and your offense not scoring points.
Can't do it. Like, if the Chiefs' offense at times go into ruts where they go 3 and out 2 or 3 times a game, if your offense is not scoring touchdowns in those 2 or 3 drives where they go 3 and out, you're done. You're done.
All right, bro. But this is supposed to be a damn Falcons preview, bro.
Broke down that.
Just to skip the Eagles, like, fuck them. Like,
worried about Carson Wentz, nigga? Fuck out of here.
Shit.
But yeah, it's good. I know as Saints fans, I know everyone's expecting to go in Sunday, expecting to get the dub. It's gonna be an easy game. I don't think it's gonna be the Falcons aren't gonna roll over. It's not gonna be an easy game. It's gonna be an earned victory. If the defense shows up, like you said, Ryan, I think it's gonna be a very easier victory. And it just depends on which number 7 shows up, man. Like, it's such a huge thing.
I'm so interested to see. I don't know. We're gonna see.
Such a huge thing. All right, we've had an extra long podcast. We talked about Hollywood. We talked about freaking Falcons game. We even talked about the Chiefs game a little bit. Everything that you guys can handle in this episode. I believe the payment probably soon should be going out. So we should be getting, hopefully, I know Nola Hat Plug is going to start working on a mask. So we should be getting them hopefully relatively pretty soon. As soon as we get them, they're going to start going out. Obviously, the holidays are coming up and stuff like that. So bear with us. But hopefully we will start getting the mask out for everyone this month.
Yep, it's going out. Follow us on IG at Saints Twitter Podcast.
Just Saints Twitter pod.
Saints Twitter Pod. Okay.
Yeah.
Same for Twitter, Saints Twitter Pod. Patreon. Just look up hashtag Saints Twitter Podcast. Just contribute what you can. We appreciate it, and some goodies coming to you. So check us out.
I mean, we out here, man. We trying. We keep doing what we gotta do. But with that, we're gonna get out of here. Enjoy the game on Sunday. Hopefully, by the time we record this Sunday night, the Saints will be 10-2. Depending on the Bears lose, they could maybe already have a playoff berth clinch, which is fucking crazy. But regardless of what happens on Sunday, we'll be back. We'll recap it. With that, we're out.
Peace.
Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Sign up using code Hawkeye and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. When you register with BetMGM, you'll get instant access to a variety of parlay selection features, live betting options, and the best daily promotions in the business. And with BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game matters more than ever. Remember to use code Hawkeye and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Place your money line, prop, or parlay bets with the king of sportsbooks today. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Iowa only. New customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Baker's, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Baker's worth it every time. Baker's, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.